Hello, I'm Ragnarok, and welcome to the Reckoning. So today we are doing the Magic Series Part 3. So this one is going to be Fire Magic. So I know this one, a lot of people have been asking for, for me to do the Fire Magic video, just mainly because I know it's one of the ones, or it's the one that you get the tome the most early, and it originally was the first magic you can learn. As I went over in the Magic Series part, or the Magic episode part 2, my opinion is the Earth Magic is probably going to be the first one most people are typically going to get. Not always going to be the case, but it is probably, in my opinion, the easiest to get, and it's more confined to the beginning area of the game. Fire Magic you technically could get first. The cool thing about the magics is they're no longer level locked. It's basically, if you can get it, you can get it. So they're kind of locked behind harder enemies or in more dangerous areas and stuff like that, like the blood magic, for example, as we'll go over in a later rework video. But right now we're gonna go over fire magic. We're gonna go over where the shrine is. We'll go over the very early steps of how to level. We do have a couple other videos that will go over stuff that you'll need to complete first. I'll mention that as we get to that. Then we'll go through all the spells. There is a new spell that was added to the fire magic, so we'll go over that as well and talk about all the cool stuff and showcase all the new stuff as well as the old fire magic. So let's get into it. Okay, so here we are at the Faction Hall. If you're not familiar with the Faction Hall, for the Age of Calamitous mod, we do have the beginner's guide for it, so check that out. But basically, you don't have to get the tome first. This is what we're here for. But you do have to actually pick a faction first. Now, we do have the Magic Guide Series Part 1, which was the Nature Attunement and Ascension. You are going to have to complete the steps in that video. You don't have to get all the tombs, but you do have to get the first like 3 steps. I think it is the faction, the ancient arts, and the nature attunement. So if you're not familiar with those, go back to the nature attunement and ascension video. It's Magic Guide Part 1. Go through those steps, then come complete this one. Now, same with those ones. It doesn't matter which faction you pick as long as it's a magical faction. So it has to be Elvenor, Cold Embrace, or Felgarth. Those are the 3 factions you have to pick. I'm going to show Elvenor this time just because I typically have been showing Felgarth and Cold Embrace. Basically, you pick your faction, and when you pick your faction, as long as it's one of the magical factions, you'll be given a bunch of stuff, and you will be given the Tome of the Fire Element. So this is where you get your Tome of the Fire Element. Make sure you grab this. Now, if by chance, let's just say that you already were one of these 3 factions before the Magic Update video or Magic Rework patch that happened months and months back, all you'd have to do is you come here, you talk to your Grand Magus. Now, there's a Grand Magus in the Elvenor room right here. For Cold Embrace and Felgarth, there's a portal right where this person is talking or sitting or standing. You go through the portal, and their Grand Magus is in there. So you talk to your Grand Magus, and right here, as you can see, Tome of the Fire Element, 10 Arcane Essence. So you'll just buy it. But if you've created a character or joined one of these factions after the updates, I believe it was the January update, might have been February, then you already have this. But again, if you don't, just come here and buy it, 10 Arcane Essence. Okay, so here we are. So like I said, you have to make sure you go through the steps. Obviously, we picked our faction. You don't need the Tome of the Fire Element, but you might as well get it because you get that when you pick your faction. If you don't, like I said, if you don't get that when picking your faction, you have to go buy it. You can go buy it after you complete these steps. You do have to complete the steps from the Nature Ascension video, getting your Nature Attunement and all that stuff. So make sure you do that. Then you're going to come here to the Dragon's Mouth Cave, or Dragon Mouth Cave. It's right up here through this little valley, and it is one of the ways to get into the volcano. So you're just going to basically run through the cave, follow the little path. You don't have to worry that you're not going to there's no enemies that currently spawn here, so you don't have to worry about that at all. It's a safe place for the most part, except for the lava. Now, most people, probably a lot of people, are familiar with this cave. I love this cave. I think I wish we had more of this type of stuff in the game, and I wish we had stuff like this in areas we could actually build in. But either way, what you're looking for is you look at the waterfall, and you look down into your left, and look at that little cave right there. So your goal is to get in there. Now, lava doesn't actually insta-kill you like it used to. You could technically run on it, and you just lose some life. Or if you want to be adventurous, you can basically parkour these rocks. So as you can see, it's not too hard. I'm using the regular jumps. Now, you do want to be careful because if you do this too slow or too fast, I probably would have got hit there a little bit. Let's see. If you look at that rock right there, you see how it's like overflown with... I think this one's about to get overflown. Oh, there you go, right there. See how it disappears? The lava does have like little waves and stuff like that, so we'll make the rocks disappear. So if you don't time this correctly, you could possibly be in trouble. Like right there. Technically, I would be taking damage. Again, lava doesn't insta-kill you anymore, so you don't have to worry about it. But that is one of the things. And basically what you're looking for is this. So this is your fire shrine. Now, if you don't have the nature attunement, you will die. So do not touch this unless you have nature attunement. I will demonstrate that. So I just had to get rid of the nature attunement real quick. So right now, I do not have the nature attunement. I will click on it. As you see, it's a blinding spell. It looks like it's going to blow up, and it does. And as you can see on the left side, do 100 points of damage every second for 35 seconds. I think it's actually 37 seconds or something like that. Either way, you're going to die. So don't touch this unless you have your nature attunement. Again, we went over that in that video. Okay, so now if you actually do have the attunement, you come here, you talk to it. And as you can see, it's a totally different spell. Again, a little blinding. That's okay, though. And there you go. We've learned fire magic. So it's pretty much as simple as that. Follow the handful of steps that are pretty easy. Run to the shrine, click on it, and you've learned fire magic. Okay, so once you've learned the fire magic, you basically come here into your feats menu, your weapons menu, and this is where all your magics are. So here's my fire magic. Here's the first level I learned. As you can see, level 1. So it is not level locked. As with all the magics, you can get them all at level 1 as long as you can get their attunements. You can get to their shrines, and then you can get the mats to make them. That's all you really need. It's not as easy. It's easier said than done. But either way, this is where you're going to do it. This is also where you're going to level up, or at least get any spells that you get through leveling. As you can see, you get your first spell right off the bat. You get your next spell at 38, and you get your next spell at 50. We'll go over those when we get that far. And there's actually another hidden spell. Either way, you're going to craft your station. You're going to go to your handcrafted inventory right here, Altar of the Sun. This is why you need to get that Tome of the Fire Element. You hold on to that. Make sure you get it. You only need one. If you didn't get it at character creation, or you make sure you go buy it. Again, you can do that after you go to the fire shrine if you want. It's up to you. Either way, once you craft the altar, throw your tome in there, leave it in there, don't touch it, don't take it out. You only need the one. It won't get used, but it is a required ingredient for some things. Now, as far as thralls that go in the fire station, or any of the magical stations, they are the keepers. There's a keeper for Felgarth, Elvenor, and Cold Embrace. Only those 3 factions will have keepers. You can't go to a Vangul camp, for example, and get a Vangul keeper. There's no such thing. So your keeper goes there. That's the thrall that goes there. Now, every station has its own fuel. For the fire station, it is the Topaz. Now, my rates right now are set to vanilla burn rates. So the times you're going to see are for 10 pieces of each of these on a vanilla burn. So uncut Topaz, 3 minutes, 20 seconds. The shards, 21 minutes, 40 seconds. And the full Topaz, 1 hour, 23 minutes. So it hasn't changed since the last time we did the video. Now, what has changed is right here. You can see there's a recipe right here for the Age of Calamitous. So you do have to make that. Make sure you get the mats for that. And that will let you get the fire gems, as we'll go over in a minute. Okay, so the next thing we're going to need to know what the fire magic is. In order to level up your fire magic, so when you are actually ready to level it up, you need to have what's called fire power gems, or power fire gems. We'll find out in a second. Either way, you create the knife, the utility knife that I showed you in the shrine. You're going to equip it, and if you don't know what these do, now every magic has their own item. They're not always weapons. They're all different. In the Earth Magic video, which check that out if you haven't, it is a harvesting scythe, and you use that on lotuses. Well, here, if you hit info, it will tell you what to use it on. This tool is used to harvest fire gems, can only be used on humanoid corpses, if I can speak today. Anyways, so it's basically like a skinning knife. I love the little glowing animation on it. Use it on the creature, or the human. And basically, there were 4. I think I had 4 here that I spawned. Yep, I had 4. You get 1 power gem per. Now, you're not getting a lot of the other maps because this is not a skinning knife. You can kind of think of these as like the religious items, like the Ankh for Mitra and stuff like that. It's like a religious item that you use to get the religious whatever token or sacrifice or whatever that you would put in the shrine to level up or craft something in that shrine. Same premise for the magic. You're only going to get 1 of these per corpse. You can increase that, at least as far as I know, as far as I've tested. It's just like the religious items. You're just going to get 1 per item. So you're going to be killing a lot of thralls throughout the game. So if you can get this magic pretty fairly early, which you should be able to if you just run up here. Like I said, it's just a matter of surviving the run. But you should be able to get a lot of power gems. Okay, so when you're ready to level up the fire magic to level 2, you need to come here with the required items. For this one, it's going to be the Tome of the Nature Ascension Volume 1. Again, check out the Nature Attunement video for how to get all the tomes 1 through 4. You'll need a different one for each level as you level up. To get the Earth Magic 2, you need that Tome Volume 1 and 10 Fire Power Gems. Click on it. So as you level up, you're going to have to come back to the Fire Shrine each time. Click on the shrine with the required items and level it up. Now, if we go into our feats menu, right here, now we have Fire Magic level 2. As you can see, the other requirement is you have to be level 25. So when you're ready to get Earth Magic level 3, you're going to come here again with Tome of Nature Ascension Volume 2 and 150 Power Gems. Level it up. As you can see, same animation, and right here, level 3. Also, the Ascension or Earth Magic or Fire Magic level 3 is you have to be level 40 in order to get that. So now we're going to get this to level 4, where you will need the Tome of Nature Ascension Volume 3 and 500 Firepower Gems. Click it, and we can come here, and as you can see, Magic 4, you also have to be level 80. And the last level, you're going to need Tome of Nature Ascension Volume 4 and 1,000 Power Gems. And you also have to be max level 120. The cool thing is once you do that, it does say you've ascended and you've been given an award. So you get a little reward. It's one of the legendary harvest loots. So let's check out what this one gave us. I think the last one gave us like some amethyst and something else. This one gave us the same, just less amethyst and more crescent waters this time. Now, one thing to mention is these tomes. I have mentioned it multiple times, but I'll do it again in this video. Make sure you don't get rid of these. As you can see, as I leveled up, they actually did not disappear. They stayed with me. The reason is because the Tome of Nature Ascensions are actually used not only to learn and level up fire magic, but also earth magic and air magic. So if you want to learn those, the cool thing is you only have to get these books once and keep them in your inventory or store them and then bring them in your inventory when you go to each step. And you'll be able to level up all those magics. Now, the cool thing, you can also give it to your clanmate, and he can take it, or she can take it. It doesn't really matter. So don't just throw these away, because you're going to find yourself having to get them again. They're not hard to get, but... Okay, so the next thing we're going to go over is we're going to go over the Earth Magic 1 through 5, and we'll explain kind of how the magic system works and how the magic damage is calculated. So right here, we have Earth Magic 1, and as you can see, you do need the tomes for these. Then when you get into the higher levels, you do need the previous version. So Earth Magic 2 requires Earth Magic 1 as an ingredient, and so forth. Earth Magic 3 requires, Fire Magic 3 requires Fire Magic 2. I just did the Earth Magic video, so I got Earth on my brain. But either way, make sure you keep these items as you level them up. But basically, the way this works, or actually, let's click through it a little bit, just so you can see the ingredients. They change quite often, so I wouldn't, hold that to heart. These kind of things are always being balanced, stuff like that, but at least you can get a gist of seeing what it is currently. Now, the way this works is you can kind of think of these fire magics as the weapons. They actually even say weapons right here. So these are the weapons. So you can think of these as bows. Now, the projectiles, the magic projectiles, the magic projectile AoE, the actual spells themselves are the arrows. So you have to craft a bunch of arrows. Every time I use the fireball spell, it's going to use one, just like using an arrow. So you'll lose it. So you have to craft a bunch of these. Same with your thralls. If you're equipping your thralls with these, you have to make sure you equip a bunch of these and craft them and craft them and craft them. But you only have to craft one bow. Now, the difference between the Fire Magic 1, 2, 3, whatever, these are just higher quality bows. As you can see, Fire Magic 1, 10 damage. Fire Magic 2, 15 damage. So it's just higher damage, higher armor penetration. That's the only difference. That's why you're only going to ever need the highest one that you can currently craft. And then, just like a bow and arrow, you're just going to drag and drop the arrow you want to use. I want to use that one. Oh, now I want to use that one. And as you can see the little icon of the spell that's currently equipped. So, now the way damage is calculated is you just add one plus the other. So, if I'm going to use, let's assume Fire Magic 1's the only one I currently have. 10 damage, 0 armor penetration. Fireball, 15 damage, 7 armor penetration. So we're looking at a 25 damage and 7% armor penetration. So that's all it is. So same as you drag it into 5, you just add the 50 and the 10, 60, or sorry, the 15. So 65 damage and so forth, so forth. So it's just a matter of adding, and that's the base damage you're going to do. Now, accuracy, and ignore the full stats. Accuracy actually does change the amount of damage. Accuracy is the way to increase damage through magic. So kind of like strength is the way to increase damage through melee. So if you are going to be a caster, make sure you increase your accuracy. The higher end accuracy will definitely give you a lot more damage. Now, the first spell we're going to go over is the Fireball spell. This is the spell you get right off the bat, as you can see right here. Fireball, very easy to craft. Very basic spell, as you can see right here with the damage and the armor penetration. We'll drag it on the Earth Magic 1 and the Earth Magic 5, and let's attack some creatures. Okay, so Fireball, what I'm going to do is I'll show you real quick. I did take off all my accuracy points, so we're using this with a base level 0. Granted, the armor I'm wearing does give me +2, so I mean, I guess I have 2 points of accuracy, which I would assume you're probably going to have more than that anyways when you're using magic. But we're going to use it level 1, if I can actually hit them. So there's your damage number, 25. 25. Now, we are doing this on Stormhold soldiers, so obviously, depending on the NPC you're fighting and their armor and stuff like that, will dictate how much damage it does. But this is a good example. This is with Earth Magic 5, so it went from 25 to 66 damage. As you can see, 66 damage. Now, you notice that one I did actually did 75 damage. Now, the reason for that is there are actually combos. So as you can see, each of those spins or moves, the hand gestures were slightly different. One of them was a spin move. So the magic light attack is a 3-attack combo. 1, 2, 3. Now, the higher in the combo you get, the more stamina drains. So the third hit in the combo will actually drain a lot more stamina than the first and second. Now, the trade-off for that is they do more damage the higher the combo is. So the first attack does 1 times damage, the second attack does 1.15 times damage, and then the third one does 1.3 damage. Okay, so the next one we're going to go over is Frostfire. Here you go, right here. And again, we're same thing, no points in accuracy. Well, the 2 points for my bonus, my armor bonus, and then we'll do it on Fire Magic 1 and Fire Magic 5. So Fire Magic 1 with Frostfire. And Frostfire is an AoE, so as you can see, it did 77 damage on both of those. So let's do it right here in the middle of all of them, and it actually hit 3 of them. So it does do a burn. And now we'll do it with Fire Magic 5. And a little bit, as you can see, the farther you got away, the less damage it did. There you go. It did, I think that was 90 that time. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes when they clump up like that. Yeah, there you go. It was 90. It was 90 and then a 77, so it did 2 different damages. All right, so the next spell we're going to show is the Inferno spell. Here you go. Now, Inferno is another AoE, and again, we'll try it with Fire Magic 1. As you can see, it's a little bit more of a blinding AoE, but let's see if we can see the numbers. So I think that was like a 38 and a 44. It's a little hard to see. And that will do it with the Fire Magic 5. Oh, I missed. Again, missed. There you go. Damage wasn't too much or too crazy. As you can see, they're not losing a whole lot of life. Another thing to notice, I'm sure you've noticed, is when you equip magics, every magic has its own little, hand glowy and eye glowing will match the color of whatever the magic is. So the Earth Magic one's a lot more subtle. It's like a aura and it's green. Fire Magic, obviously it's fire, so it's definitely cool. And when you run, as you can see, kind of cool. You do a nice little trail behind you. Okay, and the last spell we're going to go over is the Rain of Fire. Now, this one is, you can kind of think of it as a hidden spell. Now, it's unlike some of the other hidden spells. You don't have to find it in the world. The way you accomplish this one is it is attached to the Felgarth's subfaction. Now, the subfaction it is attached to is House Stormcaller. Now, I always forget it's actually in their level 120 feat, and right here you can see Rain of Fire. So in order to get this specific spell, you have to be Felgarth, and you would have had to join their sub-faction House Stormcaller. So pretty good, actually, sub-faction. We've recently went over the questing for them, so definitely check that out if you're interested in becoming them. And we are currently working on a showcase, or maybe it's already out for them also, so you can see a little bit more of what they have to offer. But either way, let's check out this spell. So as you can see right there, this one actually does take fire power gems. So this one you're not going to be crafting a lot of, but this spell, as you're about to see, is actually pretty hefty. Now I'm going to cast this spell pretty close, and again we're going to do this spell with Fire Magic 1 first. This one is a massive AoE effect, so I'm going to hit it right in the middle. And as you can see, now what I'm going to do, and as you can see, they got a lot of stacks on burn. I'm actually going to do this up. I'm going to attack this time from way, way up here, but I'll do this with Fire Magic 5 this time with the Inferno, or the Rain of Fire, just so you can get an idea more of what it does. And if they stay in the burn, you can see the stacks are increasing on them, so they do get a lot of burn. The damage is pretty decent. Granted, they're healing a lot, and that's due to a certain mechanic right now in the game. But that spell visually looks amazing, and it does do a good amount of damage, especially if you pump a lot of accuracy into it. And the last thing to go over is pretty much every attack we've been doing right now for all these different spells was the light attack. Now, the light attack, let's get out of this way because these guys are just going to keep running into me because I'm cloaked. The light attack will do whatever spell you're specifically working with. And now the heavy attack, however, is the same no matter what spell. So it doesn't matter if I have Frostfire on that one and Inferno on this one, or not Inferno, Rain of Fire on this one. It doesn't matter. The right attack is exactly the same. What changes is the damage that it does. And the damage just changes is based on which of these fire magics is actually equipped. So Fire Magic 1 will do 15 damage base per pulse, which I'll explain once we do it. On the heavy attack, level 2 is 30, level 3 is 50, level 4 is 75, and level 5 is 135 damage base on each pulse. Now, we'll do it first, again, with no accuracy, or the 2 points in accuracy, and Fire Magic 1, and we're going to do a heavy attack. And you can hear each of those booms, and you can see them flinch. Each one of those is your base attack. That is your pulse. Each of those little bases does the whatever your base damage is. And then obviously accuracy is going to increase that. Now we're going to do this with Fire Magic 5. And we're going to do this in vanity mode this time so we can see it a little better. It's very similar to the other spells. You see we're doing 136 damage this time. And it's got the little rain above it and stuff like that. Really, really cool. Okay, and I just wanted to show the heavy attack with max accuracy. As you can see right here, we have the max accuracy. And then we also are going to do it with Fire Magic 5. And I fully healed them up, so just do a quick punch. They are, well, that guy's not now, but they're basically, I killed the other ones. So these ones will be starting with full life, just so you can see how much damage you're going to do if you, as a mage, max accuracy and the highest level fire magic with their heavy attack. So you're doing about, I think, what is that, 41%? So you did about 60% damage. Never mind the burn still going. So, I mean, you're going down to, we were getting them down to, what, like 35%, roughly? 36, 35%. So, I mean, you're doing a hefty amount of their life with one attack. Yeah, they're all at like 36% now. All right, so that was the Fire Magic Guide. Hopefully that helped everybody out. I know everybody's been asking for it. Like I said, I'm trying to get through all these magic videos. I did Earth Magic first just because it's the first magic I think new players can get, so I wanted to make sure to cover that first. But I know a lot of people ask about the Fire Magic just because you get the tome so early. So it's like, oh, I should get this one first. But you can, like I said, it's just going up to Dragon's Mouth Cave as like level 10 is a little less viable. Like you could definitely pull off getting the Earth Magic at level 10. But the Dragon's Mouth Cave could be a little bit more complicated. You know, the run's a little more treacherous, but it's possible. So it's definitely possible. Either way, hope the video helped. Hope it was good information and stuff like that. If it was, give it a thumbs up. Definitely leave some comments in the comment section and below and stuff like that. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those also. hit the subscribe button so you get notified when the next Magic series or any of our other tutorials and showcases come out. We got a bunch already scheduled to come out and stuff like that. So hopefully those are all a bunch of good videos y'all like. But definitely hit that subscribe button so you can get notified. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to our Patreons and our elite Patreons. I appreciate everything y'all do. If you're interested in being one of our Patreons, definitely check out the link in the description below. They have a lot of really cool early access stuff and some teasers here and there and stuff like that. So definitely check that out. Also, we have an amazing Discord and we stream on Twitch occasionally. So check out the links for those both in the description below if you want to see more of our content. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next video and appreciate you all. And as always, fear the reckoning.